teaching is my calling, and I refuse to let anybody deter me from that. You know what I mean? Got in cool with the VP, and the VP is a brother, man. He's part of what was it? He's part of the Black Administrative Association, and they're in the business of empowering young Black educators. You know what I mean? And being that I just got into the field, wonderful, bro. I ain't gonna lie, wonderful experience. So I'm humbled. At the same time, I'm you know, I feel blessed to be able to be in a position where it's needed. You know what I mean? So that's where I stand right now, family. That's where I stand right now. But how you doing, family?
Doing good, man. You can hear me? I'm just pretty much been focusing on his family business,
Yeah, I hear you.
learning the ins and outs.
Okay,
But we
that's
doing
what's up.
good. We Black on the map. It's good to see. I tell you what, I've learned something from managing a business. Like there's an effect of Black people being proud to see other Black people doing that. You know what I'm saying? They're like, damn, we got somebody Black to go and buy this or that from.
Right,
We don't have to. We ain't got to go to white folks an
right.
hour away.
Naturally, right.
Yeah, man.
That's good, man. Keep up that good work, man. As long as everybody's in their respective field and everybody knows their place, you know what I mean? That's where the growth is. You know what I mean? I want to give a shout out to Frances Cross Welsing, brother, because she had an enlightened vision about how we should be coordinating ourselves. And some people criticize her, and when she said that Black families should be getting married and having kids at 35, she was very right. I'll be 37 this year, and I'm just now finding my niche. And for some reason, when it comes to Africans or people of African descent, we're late bloomers. Not all of us, but majority of us are late bloomers in this system. And I think it's important for us, even though you're a late bloomer, to embrace it and take all the time you need to find self. And when you find self and you combine with self and you understand self, once you get in a predicament where you're in a relationship, you have more to bring to the table because you know your self worth. You know what I mean? And it's a blessing, family. It's really truly a blessing, my dude. You know what I mean? And I just want to give a shout out to Francis Cresswell, seeing rest in power, for putting that out there, for having that insight. I consider myself to be a late bloomer. I'm not alone, but being a late bloomer, we have to realize that African people, we have a 10-year age gap, meaning we age 10 years slower than Europeans. And when we study history and we see that a lot of these European explorers, the life expectancy for Europeans back in that day was like 35, bro. And they were looking in their 50s and 60s. You see what I'm saying? So don't get too complacent and don't put too much on yourself with regards to your age and saying like, hey, I'm supposed to be this at this age. I'm supposed to be that at this age. You're right where you're supposed to be. You're right where the universe puts you. I think that's very important. Peace to the family. How you doing, family?
Fam. AAEP family.
Peace to the gods.
What it do? The F.O.G. refugee.
That's right. For life, baby.
What's good, brother Griff? What's good, man? All right.
Feel it, man. I want y'all niggas to get some consistency out here, bro. Cause quit playing, man.
Get them.
Stay hungry, my nigga.
All right.
Stay thirsty,
Get them.
my friends. Stay
Get
thirsty,
them.
my friend.
Get them.
You know what I'm saying? I don't put no doubt.
No
Let's rock
doubt, no
though. I don't
doubt.
get my energy to just any platform. I fuck with niggas. We family. When I start coming through, I feel like we family, fam. Feel me?
Ashe. And you with family. Peace,
Hell
peace,
yeah.
brother Born. Peace, brother Griff. Peace, all the family, FOG refugees. Peace to our facilitator. You know what I'm talking about, brother Cause. What you do, man? How you doing?
AAEP born.
AP, what it do? What it do? Peace and power to the family out there, know what I mean? You know, we've been away for a little bit, but know what I mean? We've been on a hiatus. We've been getting greater though. You know what I'm saying? We've been getting greater. And we're gonna be back on the. Or we're not gonna say we're gonna say on a regular basis,
Turn
but
your
it's
volume
gonna
up,
be
brother Bar.
Black Power,
huh?
fam.
Peace,
Black
brother
Power, what
Rod.
up,
Hey,
bro?
bro. I see you, family. I see you.
Do
Hey,
out
hey,
there.
EP.
Respect, brother Born. What's good, family?
Yo, man, living, man. Good to see you, my G.
I need your bath and your info, G.
I
What was
see you in
that?
that laboratory getting that meditation on, family. I see you, brother Rod. Hey, bro.
Ain't nothing changed, nigga. I had some mentally self-defeating bullshit told to me yesterday, yo. Motherfucking fam gonna get at me telling me, yo, all that knowledge you got and all that knowledge of self shit, talking about it's a white man's world. No matter how much knowledge I got, ain't shit I could do about it. And I'm like, you telling me that I should be a submissive slave in a white man's world, and no matter how I feel, no matter how much knowledge I have, there's nothing I can do about it but be a submissive slave to a white man? And she's like, yeah. I was like, yo, this is the end of my conversation with you, yo, because that's self-defeated talk. If that's how you gonna tell somebody to live their life, that's crazy as hell. Because then you telling somebody they can't progress and do better. That's crazy as fuck, yo.
I say.
I say to that. Yeah, you can't.
I say.
That's definitely a self-defeating attitude, man. Yeah, let me get myself together, man. Get my medicinals right. You know what I mean? Everything looking good out here, but yeah, that's definitely a self-defeating attitude, man. Brother Rahey Rule, that's the type of attitude I definitely stay away from. When I hear how people talk about how we can't do something, automatically I know that's a sickness, man. That's a sickness in your mind, and I don't want that sickness to carry on with me, man. That shit is
I
that shit
say to that,
infectious.
man. I was just talking to brother Cause about today. Today's the last day of school. Spring break started, so the faculty wanted to have a little meet up at the little sports bar or whatnot, and for drinks and so forth. And I got this particular teacher who be kind of low key hating on the God. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I'm touching the heart and soul of the youth. And we had a meeting today, and I was like, you know, I'm cool with building rapport with staff, but to be quite honest and quite frank, I'm not here for none of y'all. I'm here for these kids, um, mainly African children, children of African descent, and you know, it's easier to raise a nation of strong children than it is repair a broken man or woman. And I think if you keep that as the base of any philosophy that you use that's Afrocentric, you're gonna go far in this movement. The youth are our potential guide towards the future. Our youth are what we need to be focusing on, and our youth are our future. So um, it makes white folks don't give a fuck about no brother coming to his consciousness, But if you can awaken the youth, and we know every revolution starts with the youth. So if we focusing and putting our attention on our babies, man, we can't go wrong. We can't go wrong at all. Black power.
Ashe.
And with that said, man, we got a lot of topics we need to talk about, man. We ain't been online and in a while, man. From the whole Robert Kelly situation to them, now bringing up Michael Jackson situation. Uh, Bill Cosby was a victim. One thing I've noticed is that when you have money, you have the power to recycle bullshit. I'll give you an example. Y'all remember a couple years ago, before Bill Cosby got indicted, that he was just talking reckless against the youth? Anybody remember that?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Now,
Yep.
now the mistake he made was he forgot how much money he has. You may have problems with how the youth are going about it, but I think one thing to keep in mind is that the youth are a reflection of the constant state of rebellion that the elders have not embraced. I'm gonna say that again. The youth are a constant reflection of the rebellion that the elders chose not to embrace or are ignoring. If you notice, we look at the hip hop culture. Shit, 90% of these youngsters in the rap game got face tattoos, locks and so forth. And when you look at it for what it is they have made it their business not to assimilate in Western culture. They've taken an entrepreneur type of mentality, and you know, when we were coming up in hip hop, it was you got to get that deal, brother, to be successful. These youngsters, fuck a deal. They are entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? And back to Bill Cosby, he may have not known what the movement was regarding the youth, but he has the money to recycle the bullshit. Meaning, okay, you see that the youngsters are constantly doing this and that with the music. Okay, you see that white corporations can exploit that. Support it. Pay for their studio time, and the money that they accumulate, take that, and you as an elder redistribute that into black consciousness in terms of black business and so forth. That's what money can do for you. Money can have you recycle bullshit. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say?
I hear you, fam. Let me throw this picture out there, right? I think the issue with Bill Cosby is that we get caught up in the alter ego, the television personnel of Bill Cosby. Now, the television personnel was a black man raising his black family, sending his kids to a black college, like everything that you would expect the so-called running black household to be, but that is not reality, right? Now, when Bill Cosby lashed out at the youth, he was on jazz, so his mind state of music came from a point when music was pure. So to him, good music is good music, music with reason, understanding, without words, right? Something more so that touches your emotion, the vibrations, right? Soothing music. Now, music has been sampled from jazz and transformed to fit the mindset of whatever generation chooses to take a sample, chop it up, and flip it, right? So his response was that to the youth is that, yo, the music is making the youth like this. And if y'all not going to do nothing, this, that, second, and the third, and this is all you could talk about is violence and killing each other in the music, then, yo, he's like on some old, just stuck in like the past type shit. That was like, to me, like what his lashing out was about. But he got to remember something. He was young too. And now we see, what happened with him when he was young. He had a fucked up lifestyle too. He was running around doing all type of crazy shit, according to the media. Now, we don't know if it's true, but, he came up in that era where certain drugs were very popular, especially amongst the rich and in the nightclub scene. It's like
Right.
too much hasn't changed now from then. There's now, the kids and the youth and the music industry and these parties, they on these weird ass designer drugs, yo. And then they get these drugs and meet up with these people and they end up in a back room behind closed doors in a fucked up situation. It's the mindset of the individual. If you weaken the mind, then that's what you're gonna fall to. Later on, just because you're rich, you might think you got away with that, or you got enough money to make you equal, or you think you could just pay people off. We've seen this shit too many times. You can't, yo. Your wealth ain't shit. They're gonna take it from you just like you got it. They're gonna use your lifestyle, your sickness, everything that you built yourself up to be and destroy that. But we fail to realize something. We're looking at the alter ego, not the person. We don't know the person.
That's true.
Shade
That's
is
very
strong.
true. We don't know the person, and in fact, um, I would say his biggest crime, uh, Bill Cosby, was I'm just gonna say it, sleeping on white women, because when it came to his attention and they brought it up, the first thing he said was it was consensual. But see, if he would have had the same rapport as, for example, Denzel Washington had, or Denzel Washington, once he became a star in Hollywood with prestige, he took the he basically said that he doesn't do any love scenes with white women. And when asked why, he said because majority of his fan base are black women. So when you watch movies like The Equalizer 1 and 2, Man of Fire, he may be saving Caucasian women, but he's not having any love scenes with them. And going back to Bill Cosby, you know, if that would have came to his attention, people were saying, well, he's been accused of drugging white women and having sex with them. The first thing that would have came out was Bill Cosby don't sleep with white women. So you see the point I'm making? His crime was sleeping with white women. If he would have had a preference with the type of women he dealt with, that shit would have even came to light because they would have said, no, 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 no. Bill Cosby, he don't even deal with white women. Like for example, Denzel Washington. If that was to ever happen, it wouldn't happen because Denzel Washington will, make the statement, well, that's false because preference, sexual, I'm not attracted at all to Caucasian women. You see the point I'm making? So I would say, and I agree with you, brother Raheem. Once he got in that, that category with white people, and it kind of it did more harm than good to his reputation. You see what I'm saying? So I agree with you, brother.
As far as Robert Smelly the pedo, that man got mental issues, yo. Not even the fact on the pedo shit. Even if you try to drop the pedo shit, you guilty of a whole nother crime. You enslave women for sex inside your house. Where on the planet do we as Africans do that? He can break down and plead and say guilty all he want, but just as guilty as Robert Kelly is, the parents of these women should also be put in the same light. You pimped your daughter out for wealth and for materialistic gain, so what you can get from a man with a sickness that has money, that's spending his money on his sickness, which is young women. Yo, how do you as a man have a house full of women and you telling them you can't go to the bathroom? Oh, you can't eat. Oh, I'm gonna take you and buy you all this shit, but unless you do this, yo, I need you to get down like this. Like he got women locked up in his house like animals, G. That's some Euro shit. And
Right.
the same people that he hung around, look, something happened with him and Jay-Z, right? But Jay-Z got the same sickness. Just Jay-Z ain't locking women up in his house.
Right.
Tiger, same sickness. Ain't nobody saying nothing to him. A lot of these rich cats is going after these children and ain't nobody saying shit.
You're right. And you
The
know what I heard?
parents is okay with this shit. Like,
Right.
yo, let me have a daughter and she bring home an entertainer and she's 14, 15 years old. This nigga's 30, 40, 20 something years old. Look, I don't know who he is. I don't care who he is. I'm finna take his head off.
Right. Now, what's crazy, Brahero? I've heard this that Sinful P. You ever heard Sinful the P? He got a nice little platform on YouTube, and the minute they start going in on R. Kelly, he had posted something, and he posted a picture, and it was a picture of Sam Cooke was fucking with Aretha Franklin when she was like 12 or 13. You see what I'm saying? So it's a culture that's going around that it's been in existence before Robert Kelly even got on the scene. Now I will say this, and I agree with you 100%, Rahelu. Parents, selling their children or pimping their children out, and I see it as a situation because he's not the typical pedo. He's not in the shadows looking. He got a little bread, so he's able to come to the family straight up. Hey, man, I want your daughter. What is it going to take? How much is it going to take? And they set a price. And I think they got a little upset because the price that they may have set back then, whether it was 5,000 or 20 grand, they ran through their money. And when they ran through their money, that's when the disgruntled attitude came, and you know what I mean. This whole movement against him and so forth. So if they're going to indict that man, they're gonna have to bring up. It's going to be a lot of other shit going on with regards to the parents as well. So I agree with you, bro. 100%.
Robert Kelly tried to use Christianity to get him out of his sickness, but at the same time, he exposed his sickness. Notice that when he got caught doing that video, right? When he went back to doing music, because remember, he went quiet for a while. What did he come back as? The Pied Piper. What did the Pied Piper do? Lure the children out of the house. He used to
Right.
tie that shit around his face, right? He didn't have the flute in his hand because he didn't have to. He was already making the music. But remember when he used to tie that little shit around his face, like around his eyes? He told the world what his sickness was, but he used Christianity behind him to say that, okay, I guess he's saved. Nah, nigga, it's not enough to save you, yo, because you still doing the same shit. It's just the world ain't lashed out at him and gave him the lashing he really need, yo, and it need to come from the same motherfuckers that buy and listen to that sick shit.
Right. Right. I totally agree. How the fam feel about that, man?
Yeah. Anytime I hear any type of shit in the mainstream, always kind of like I fall back to Brother Little, man, when he was like, motherfuckers don't even make the motherfucking, the mainstream media unless they get green lighted. So then, what I'm saying, shit out here, like R. Kelly ain't no RBG motherfucker. Mike and them ain't RBG. Bob and them, what I'm saying, they're not for the black community. So to me, I really don't give a fuck what happened to them motherfuckers. Personally, I don't even, what I'm saying. Now the children that got exploited in the mix, what I'm saying, that's the issue that, like you said, the black community really supposed to deal with the motherfuckers. The white man ain't supposed to be talking to them. We supposed to be talking to them. So we ain't doing our job. That's how I see it.
And on top of that, the secondary thing about that is that it's about the condoning of R. Kelly. Like R. Kelly been condoned in the community because of, because of the years of systematic, you know what I'm saying, over sexualization of our children. You know what I'm saying? We've been systematically raped on a regular basis.
Bro,
You know
B,
what
your voice is a little low. Like turn your volume up a little bit if you can.
I'm saying? So I don't know. Hold on. Let me
All
see
right.
my real drink messed up, so I'm using this.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
using this. But like I was saying though, it's like uh the history of hidden pedophiles, right, is so strong that so many women take up for them. You know what I mean? And that's one of the problems that we have. Not even just dealing with R. Kelly, but being that he the subject of the topic. You know what I mean? You can see the outpouring of women, black women in particular, who come to his defense. You know what I mean? Where they are um, equipping him with different with let me say they equipping him with different excuses to use about why he's this way. You know what I mean? Everybody quick to cry for why
Mhm.
he's this way. Like Wendy Williams came out and talked about how she cried with him and everything and how he was abused and all that shit.
Right.
Again, though, the more you hear this shit, it sound like a distraction for the shit that's really going on. Babies is dying all over the world. African babies is getting murked out all over the globe. Where is these stories at? This is what I need to hear. This is the things that we need to be primary concerns for the community. Not no, what I'm saying? R. Kelly and them niggas, man, them niggas to me, just like I said, they puppets. I see them just puppets. And anytime they want to use, they use them as a tool to destroy the image of the black male in front of the whole world or
Right.
over that televised vision. See, it ain't even about R. Kelly. It's about the way that they're portraying the image of the African man on a global
Right.
scale. That's what it's really about to me.
Right. And I agree with that as well. It's funny. We had a workshop. Um, and it was guest teachers there, substitute teachers, and faculty members. And the conversation was bias. Now I'm in California, right? Now peep this out. 10% of the classroom are black students, right? But 70% of all suspensions and referrals are black students, right? So when I heard that, I rose my hand up. So I said, so basically what you're saying is that 70% of everybody here aren't qualified to teach black children. And the lady, she didn't want to admit it, but she did. Now, taking that, she presented some slides that psychologists had done, right? And they were based on images, right? It was an image of a group of black boys sitting together, a group of white kids, white girls, white boys, and then the black woman, right? Now, peep this out. The consensus was done among scholars. When they say that, that's white folks, right? The number one threat, or what they perceived to be a threat, of course, was the black males, right? You know who number two was? White girls. Number three was white boys. Number four was black girls. And she ended by saying that the most neglected and the most overlooked group were the black women, right? Now, a sister made this comment to me with regards to R. Kelly. She said that the black woman is still the most unappreciated aspect in this whole equation because no one's coming to her aid. And she's quite correct when she said that. So it's funny that when we had this class, we had this whole workshop on bias, on how to deal with how they perceive us. And she pulled up a picture of youngsters with do rags on, right? And that was perceived as being, white folks see it as a threat. But then next was white girls. And if you make the correlation, you'll see that they're watching both black women, both black males and white women, because that whole stigmatism with that long myth of black men and white women, right? Third was third was white boys. Fourth was black women. So the most abandoned individual in society are black women, bro. They're perceived as being promiscuous. They're perceived as being oversexed. You see the point I'm making? So that even in this situation, for example, with R. Kelly, you would, you would expect to see a large group of black women campaigning against this brother. Remember how that whole hip hop was in the early '90s with the word bitch, and how they were breaking CDs and putting parent advisory stickers. Remember that?
Yep. Dolores Tucker and all that shit.
Dolores Tucker. Who's the next Dolores Tucker in this fashion right now? Oh, he may not be using the word bitch or hoe. He may not be rapping over a fast beat, but he's a singer. You see the point I'm making? Um, it goes back again to the overall effect. Them trying to tarnish any strong image, whether it be now they're going in on Michael Jackson. And how long has this man been dead? You see, anytime a good book to read, I had just sent my son this book, The Assassination of the Black Male Image by Dr. Earl Fart Hutchinson, who's a columnist and editor for LA Times. And I was given this book in high school by a Black Panther sister whose name was Miss Gray. And this sister had insight enough to prepare black males for the overall image and perception that you're going to get from American society. You see what I'm saying? And anytime, like for black leaders nowadays, you have to have an impeccable rap sheet. You can't have any flaws or anything that they can use against you. You guys remember when that brother who came out with that movie when he did the Nat Turner movie, that fucked up ass movie, but remember when he was coming out with it, how the sisters was bashing him because he had a history, I guess, of some type of issue with the sister. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know you talking about.
The brother who made that
He
movie
caught
Birth of
that
a
rape
Nation.
charge. Yeah,
He caught it. Okay, he caught a
Parker.
rape charge. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, by a white bitch, and then turns around, gets off, and then years later goes and marry a white bitch and have 5 kids with her. So
And then make a movie about Nat Turner, and then black women throw him under the bus. Now I can understand, nigga, because you're swirling and but just to show you how the minute they got a whiff of his background, you see what I'm saying? You have to be twice as clean as crackers can when anytime you're in a position of leadership in the black community. You know what I mean?
Not sure.
No doubt.
Go ahead, brother
Check
Born.
this out. With this R. Kelly thing, man, and your part of stuff for I told you my line kind of messed up, so I might fall off, but it's purely accidental. But anyway, with this R. Kelly thing, man, what's one thing that I'm looking at? They bringing ladies up, right? They disparaging some of the ladies who say that R. Kelly, quote unquote, allegedly did something to him. You know what I mean? They bringing these ladies up. One of the things that I see is that they giving it the news and the way that they pushing it, right now is like they push it to justify pedophilia. Like it's more, it seems like more of a push. Like well, these people might have been the right. They might have been in their right mind when they had sex with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? It don't seem like it's an outcrying of the Me Too. They don't seem like the Me Too movement is on this so hard. We're like, oh, look how horrible, horrible, horrible these women is hard. It's horrible for something like this to happen to these women. It seemed like they more pushing trying to skew the lines of how old you have to be to have sex. You know what I mean? How old is it is going to be too how young is too young. You know what I mean? And that's where I see that they pushing this angle, man, because it's not no real harsh. It's not no real harsh, the criticisms of R. Kelly. You know what I mean? Not only black men seem like the harshest critics of what's happening with R. Kelly to me.
Say that again.
I said black men seem like the harshest critics of R. Kelly. You know what
Okay.
I mean? So that's why I said it just seemed like because I just see this pedophile angle being pushed, like they steadily be pushing this line. Like if you can push that black people are sexualized earlier, 14, 15 years old, the same way that they use us to push transgenderism, they use us to push homosexuality, they use us to push a lot of these things. And it seems like they're using us to push that line between what is too young or too old. Like we say, the over sexualized African American, whether it be the woman or the male. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that to me. I don't, I'm still looking at it, but it seems like they pushing that line.
I agree. I agree. I see that even at school, bro. Working with, I'm in middle school, working with these middle school kids, and lesbian couples, bro. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it goes right back to what you said with regards to saying, okay, they're over sexualized. The black woman is naturally promiscuous. You know what I mean?
That's deep, family. That's deep right there.
It, the new, listen, right? Oh man. All right, before we get off, I want to make sure that we touch this topic. I sent the. I don't know if I don't know if y'all got it. I don't know if I put it in the back room. Brother Coors might have. But in Georgia, there's a House of Rep member who's pushing that men be charged with a sexual assault crime if you have sex with a woman without a condom. Also, if you over 50, you got to register, you got to call the cops every time you have an orgasm. You call the fucking
Wow.
cops. Yo, son, this shit is some wild. Oh, they going real hard on the man right now. They going real hard. Brother Cause. Let me see if he got that in the back, man. You gotta put that in the back, man. Brother Cole, don't go to the library this early, man. This is our first night back on, man. Don't be in the library so
That's
early.
right. That's right, brother. Come on now. And you're right on because um manhood is, it's on the attack from every angle. You know what I mean? Uh there's a compromise.
I
There's
think that
a
might be a
sense of
misnomer though, big bro. You saying manhood is really black manhood. Because when
that's what
this
I'm
shit
talking
go
about. That's
down,
what's being
okay, there you
attacked.
go. There you go.
Because and thank you for that correction, brother.
All right.
The first man on earth is the black man, right? So the outline of manhood is us. The white man may be in power with regards to running the country, the financial, all that other bullshit. But in terms of what it is to be a man,
oh
we are the
shit.
rubric for that. You know what I mean? Go ahead, brother.
Ashe, that's 100.
Nah, that shit was right there, Mikarob, man. That with both of y'all saying that just now, that just brought me to a whole nother thought. Cause I watched them breaking the fucking man down. And now, even though I noticed, but I just see it so much clearer that that's why the attack on us is so much harder. That even though they don't give a fuck, like if you just look at regular news, It'll say it's an attack on the white man. The white man and masculinity is being attacked because that's the news. That's what they're going to project to it, that that's under attack. But all the articles that you see are black men being put in these effeminate roles. You see the black man being effeminized, period. You see the transgenders, the big ass, the man transgender MMA fighter is a fucking, is got dark skin. The goddamn transgenders running track, dark skin. They trying to play basketball. They want to jump. The fucking just the twerking. They got them on the motherfucking RuPaul is on TV. They, even though they speak on that, oh, the white man is being, they trying to take away, toxic masculinity. Really, the only way you get rid of masculinity is to get rid of the black man. The black man, because he is like you said, he is the preeminence of what manhood is. He exudes manliness even when he don't want to.
Right.
Yeah. And then the thing is also too, they know if they see the black man under attack from every angle, ain't nothing we can do, right? How the fuck all these white pedophiles, these senators, and all these motherfuckers, how could you even begin to put a black man on there for trying to solicit somebody online and shit? With all the motherfuckers who really do this shit hard body, how the fuck could you get a black man and try to put him on here like he's running a goddamn like child brothel or something when you know the players, the fucking Roman Catholic Church, ain't you don't hear nothing about pedophile come up, you hear R. Kelly, you don't even hear about the Catholic Church no more. So you can tell that this is a war. This is a war tactic. It's propaganda. They try, like you saying, they trying to smear the black man because that's the last piece of masculinity left on this motherfucking planet. They know it, and the world know it. That's why every time black male do something, wear his clothes a certain way, the whole fucking world follows suit. How a motherfucker in China sagging with the fitted on and shit. That ain't even his culture. He all the way across the globe. Now tell me who got power.
Right. Black
How many
man.
niggas in the hood wearing Bruce Lee shoes and shit?
Right.
Wearing an iced out chain with some Bruce Lee shoes and a little Chinese little kung fu shit on. Who doing that?
Right.
Nobody, nigga. But your children and your children's children will continue to imitate the African no matter what the fuck y'all do. And that's why y'all gotta try to knock a nigga out the box. Hands down.
Right? So I'm checking the news all the time. That's an interesting thing that you're saying because if you're watching the news, MSM, you know what I'm saying, mainstream media, if you tapped into mainstream media, you would definitely think that the black man was a degenerate because that's what you see. You see the R. Kelly, we got the Michael Jackson, we got the Bill Cosby really pumping. They didn't use Harvey Weinstein too hard. They smoothed him on up out the way. And also the other cracker from Unusual Suspects, Kevin Spacey, they moved him out the motherfucking way. But if you look into the newspapers, if you look into what the feds is doing, the feds is charging crackers wholesale. Not even whoever the fuck they catching fucking pedophiles all over the goddamn country, but you don't see none of this shit on no motherfucking ABC, NBC, MSNBC, none of this shit. You don't see you don't see not one goddamn report about how they catching. Yo, son, they did a sweep, man, and pulled and got like 300 motherfucking crackers at one goddamn time, probably about 2 weeks ago, for motherfucking child pornography and all type of motherfucking little crazy sick ass shit. But this shit is not on ain't CNN ain't showing it. Fox, nobody, no mainstream media is pumping this shit as a story. Only thing get pumped is motherfucking R. Smelly, and Michael Jackass. Goddamn Silly Bill.
And see, here's the danger behind this type of propaganda blitz, man. Okay, it's one thing for a grown man be engaging in shit, but what they're doing is they're dehumanizing the African to the point where when you do catch some crackers and shit, raping our babies and shit, they gonna make it seem like, well, that's the like you saying, that's that's their nature. They come out the room ready to fuck, like you said, over sexualizing them. And so then you ain't the world ain't gonna have no remorse for our peoples. They just gonna see them as the way that they being portrayed. And so ain't no real blowback on them niggas. That's why I'm saying that shit we gotta handle.
They about to drop the whole eight, son. They listen. This shit got compounded fucking thing. They about to drop the age of consent. Period. Across the board. They about
Yep.
to say, listen, they using the black, that's what I'm saying. They using the over sexualized black child as they saying that look, since we know black people the first people, see, they're gonna use this shit against us. They're gonna say, well, look, man, these the first people on the planet. If they sexualize at this young age right here, then maybe we should be rethinking how we characterize how old it is to have sex and all that shit. They not gonna use it as a moral dilemma, like, yo, what the fuck, man? We shouldn't be fucking having sex with goddamn 13-year-olds. They're gonna take it the other way and say maybe we need
Right.
to rethink how old is somebody really not old enough to engage? They about to play a whole nother fucking game on us.
Basically, they
And
ain't
you
never
right.
stopped the sex
Both of
farms,
y'all
man.
right.
Yeah.
Both of y'all right because let's really analyze this shit for what it is in terms of them creating this shit, right? Y'all know who what's the character name? Kermit the Frog, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's his girlfriend? Who's Kermit? Who Kermit the Frog fucking?
A pig.
A pig. Just think about that. They got they've been fucking with us early with this shit. You got inner species mingling in not in the fictional settings like cartoons, preparing your mind to accept shit like homosexuality, pedophilia. You see what I'm saying?
Bestiality, pedophilia.
Bestiality. You see what I'm saying? We know now. We know goddamn well a pig, and an amphibian could never, right? That's impossible, right?
But once you get told enough lies, this is why we psychotic. This is why this is why the people so fucking mentally ill right there. Is because you lied. We lied to so much as children that you can't. It's hard for you to think right as an adult when you lied to so much as a child. You don't know what's coming and going, and that's part of That's part of the. That's what I'm saying. Like this shit is part of programming that been set down for years on our eyes. We've been set down doing this shit for years. They've been planning. They've been working this shit so we can get to this point right now and just like, what the fuck? We the few who waking up. It's the few because you can't keep people blind forever. But this has been a laid out format. As Brother Mikaraj just stated, we was watching Sesame Street and we was watching interspecies sex going on. Even though we never seen them have sex, it was already there and planted in our mind that they did that because that was his girlfriend. They were together. And as a child, you know, when they together, you know what happens because you have a mother and father. So you understand what it is to be together. But you ain't got no.
You see what I'm saying? And then what they do, brother born, and to the rest of the family is they blur the lines on what's natural to the point where anything that's radical can be accepted. So if Kermit the Frog is in love with what bitch named Piggy, what's her name? Miss Piggy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you watching all these other interspecies relationships via TV, via fiction, and you hear about Stacy and Tamika getting together. It's okay, or you can be more or less acceptable to it because you've been conditioned over time to accept that pigs can sleep with frogs. Birds can sleep with. You know what I mean?
Now, but they
So
condition you to
go ahead.
do what make you feel good. If it make you feel good and it don't hurt somebody else, it's all right. That's what they condition you to. They feel
Mm-hmm.
good. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. Why? How do you? Is it hurting you that the pig is with the frog? No. All right then. Then it's all right for them. Aren't they
Right.
happy together? You should
Aren't
be
they
happy
happy?
that they
Yes.
happy. But they
Here,
tell
here,
you should be happy that they happy.
Right. Now you wrong for having an opinion.
Exactly. You know what I'm
here,
saying?
here's the thing too, though, family. See, different cultures deal with sex differently. So for the white motherfucking Caucasoid demon devil, that's how they play. And so what they're really trying to do, because sex is a very spiritual thing in African culture. Sex is part of war. How the fuck you gonna get troops? Nigga, you gotta procreate. And so they already see their numbers are dwindling. So then what do you have to do? You gotta go do whatever you can do to destroy the union between the black man and the black woman so you can fuck up their numbers. And so
Right.
when you saw them, first of all, when you sodomize anything, I believe that changes the biochemical structure. Now, if you take that to sodomizing a fucking child, bro, this you got a demon. After you do that, you just created a demon, man. Unless there's some serious divine intervention, you got a monster on your hands, man. That's my personal opinion. How do you fix that? Especially when the
Man,
child's forcibly raped, man. This is your first experience with this shit.
you
Motherfucker
are
force
so
themselves on you. Man, you a
brother.
monster now. Go ahead.
Brother Griff, you are on motherfucking point with that. And I'm a piggyback off what you said and put my little 2 cents in. That's why we're not prepared at all to engage in confrontation with the European because we have no standing. Not forget the standing army. Our numbers aren't there with sufficient soldiers. Meaning, in 2019, if you enlist into the military right now, according to American standards, what's the age limit?
18. Is it?
17, like 34, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, based on what you just said, right? We don't have enough numbers of real soldiers to even fill that gap. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck are we teaching our kids, bro? It goes right back to feet on the ground's initial message when we first start. What's really the initial message that we're sending our kids? We're not preparing them at all for confrontation or just assertiveness. We're just standing up. We're preparing them for servitude. I'm talking in a lounge with a sister who's a peer colleague, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she fucked my mind up. She said that you'll see all three uh, 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 social classes in the classroom. She said the poor, and and it was a Latino and a white dude in the room. So she's clever with her wordplay. But if you listen to what she's saying, she's talking about us. She said the poor have no real freedom in the classroom. They have to take orders and do work. So they have to ask for everything. Can I sharpen my pencil? Can I go to the class? Can I go to the bathroom? There can I go here? Can I go there? The middle class are the supervisors. You see what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
can get up and go. They can, they'll get up. They don't ask. They'll get up and sharpen their pencil. They'll go to the restroom. You see what I'm saying? Then you have the higher upper echelon who parents pay the payrolls of the teachers. These are the students that can go behind the teacher's desk. You see what I'm saying? Uh, there's a certain freedom that they have. You see the point I'm making? And when she said that, it blew my
Like,
mind away because I'm, and I'm not the only one. A lot of us are moving from that worker mentality of taking orders to that supervisor role of giving orders. And I'll say this: these youngsters with these face tattoos and all that, they're in that. They're not middle class, but they seen the plight we took, and they've made the evolutionary adjustment and saying that I can do better, we can do better. Nigga, I'm not finna do that shit. I'm not trying to include myself in this system. What you see the point I'm making?
yep. And then another to add on to what you were saying, brother Meckenra. Then when you start looking at the student council, who's the presidents of the student council and the other little faculties where the students actually imitate the roles of the administration, you see who play those roles. It's usually not us.
Right.
But those are the like you said, that's a microcosm of managing a nation. And so the white kids is already getting a taste of leadership roles on how to manage the rest of these motherfucking non-whites
Right.
and poor whites.
Right. And thank you for bringing that in because the way she put it in that context, they fall victim too because those of us who work in the blue collar field, and dabble in it, regardless where you at, you do see that large number of white people in that field. And they may have, let's use warehouse work, for example, right? Majority of white folks who didn't make it, who come from, who grew up poor, they can eventually rise to a supervisor status in that type of field. You see the point I'm making? And their role will be one of supervising us, meaning those of us who come from poor backgrounds, may have not had and I'm using education not because you went to college, but I use education in terms of how to manage wealth and power. You see the point I'm making? You'll fall under that role, and you'll be a menial worker. And your supervisor will probably be some white dude who just graduated from high school, and because he even though he's poor and he's white, he was able to use his white status to a minimum privilege that will give him a supervisor job at a certain facility. You see the point I'm making?
Yep.
Roles, status, and what's the last? And norms. These are social stratifications. The role of this. To obviously obtain some type of status based on this type of norm. You see what I'm saying? And let's get back into, I'm digressing, but I'm get
Nah,
back to
you
this
right
conversation.
there, brother
Mm-hmm.
Mekarot. You are right on point. This is how the
Mm-hmm.
system fades black people. Coming up through the
Exactly.
ranks, man, you have to get indoctrinated. The indoctrination is for you to already understand you cannot do it without the system. How can you be a doctor? How can you be a lawyer? How can you be a basketball player? How can you be a news anchor? How can you even be a without the system? It's not possible. So as you start to get through levels of growth and development, when you reach an adulthood, you have to buy into the system in a sense. When I say have to, like in order to excel, you have to become a part of that. So only a thorough motherfucker who already knew who they were, where I come from, what's my mission for my group. When you go in there, you just gonna be trying to make sure you be able to make your bread and get the fuck out of there. And then anybody else, you gonna be like, nigga, fuck all that. I went to school, nigga. I studied this nights. I stayed up for 2 days studying for the. So you feel entitled. So you ain't about to do shit. Niggas be talking all this shit. See, that's why you gotta really pay attention to these motherfuckers who be out here in the so-called conscious community. Because when motherfuckers tell you there's nothing wrong with organizing your economics. We should be organized. See, this is the thing. Right now, ain't no military conflict, nigga. Unless you gotta defend yourself, self-defense, ain't no military conflict. Because you have to get your people's minds together in order. And so we need to just be putting schools together, schools and lunch programs, just simple shit, because we got to get the babies and we got to bring them up to speed on how to be able to even, first of all, to even know who the fuck they are. Once you show them who they are, their purpose becomes self-evident. Knowledge itself makes your purpose self-evident. So all you gotta do now is bring the motherfucking knowledge itself, man. We gotta bring it in a manner in which the babies can be receptive to it. And the only way they really gonna be receptive to it is the same way we was receptive to it. And the cracker know this. Using the motherfucking music, man. That's why all this bullshit music is out. And motherfuckers is, how you a fag gangster thug? Who's a homo thug? Like, what the fuck? That's an oxymoron the way we was coming up. All that shit is so you a motherfucking a god devil.
Right.
The
And piggyback
masculine.
of what you
Yeah.
saying, but and I
Finish,
mean
dude. Ride.
I mean cut your wisdom off, but
You ain't cut me.
when
Ride
we
out. We building.
already now when we talk about economics, and and you made me think about something. We have to call out our elders who already have so-called economics, and when we call them out, and we see that why for years, Dick Gregory said this. And Dick Gregory, he be everywhere on his theories, but he said this, and he was solid as a motherfucking rock. You're not gonna see actors, entertainers, and athletes in this movement.
Ashe.
Think, think about that.
He said, you waiting on an entertainer to bring you the revolution? An
You're gonna be
entertainer.
waiting. So let's put it in the context with when niggas talk economics, because that's the first thing they're gonna say. Why haven't we seemed to come over that bridge economically. Let's really analyze this, right? Because that in 2019, you're talking economics, you're talking control. This is not the 80s. This is not the late 70s where you had a large there was cash on the streets. Let's just keep it 100, right? There was a lot of cash money on the streets back then because there was no debit card. There was no direct deposit. You see the point I'm making? So in 2019, there's a lot less cash on the streets. And when less cash on the streets, that's more control. So even if we wanted to, yeah, Oprah may be a billionaire, but she has guidelines on how she can spend her money. Facts. Facts. Let's look at other motherfuckers. I'm on World Star. Finally,
hold on,
go ahead.
bro, Mekara. Now, with you saying that, she don't only have restraints on how she can spend her money. Her whole life is all her script is given to her. Her script is given to her from top to bottom, not just the economic. Bitch, this who you gonna marry. This who you gonna act like is your child. We gonna put you up in front of them cameras and you're gonna play whatever role we tell you to play, just like you played in The Color Purple.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? This is why Dick Gregory was like, you gonna trust an entertainer to lead the revolution or whatever. Because he like, motherfucker, they're actors. So they whatever they doing, they performing, motherfucker. So if you that stupid that you thought this motherfucker was gonna bring home the goods, then that's your silly ass fault. And that's probably the realest thing that punk motherfucker ever said. Because I don't fuck with Dick Gregory like that. He ain't shit. Malcolm called him out. Already been called him. Said he was a puppet and a clown, along with some others. So I don't fuck with Dick Gregory. He don't get no respect from me.
Now, with that said, let's look at how economics was used during the civil rights movement, right? Wasn't no debit card. It was hand-to-hand transactions with the money flow, right? So when Rosa Parks did what she did with regards to her rebelling against that racism on the bus, they were able to successfully boycott and fuck the money up of the transportation system in Georgia, where they had to accommodate or had to reform, right? What are you saying, Minkara? The difference then is that when you're talking economics now, and when we talk about it, we're talking about it in the old sense with black businesses going to support your black businesses, right? And keep the money in the black community and so forth. But when you really look at it, that was something that was done during what? Segregation. And what are we living in? What are we living in now? We're living in the integrative period 30, 40 years after the civil rights movement in 2019. See the point I'm making? We need to update our motherfucking our agenda. It's not gonna fit because let's be real. At least now I'm not gonna discredit a lot of our black entrepreneurs, but a lot of the black entrepreneurs that they have flexible leeway, but they're surpassed by a majority of motherfuckers who get their money directly from Europeans, i.e., athletes and actors. Am I making sense?
Yo, I was even gonna add on and say, even being a small business, you still feeding the goddamn system with these monthly taxes and shit. Like really feeding these motherfuckers.
Even more so. You feed more when you get a small business,
yeah, so it's like
unless you know the tax laws. But go ahead, my friend. Let me cut you with
nah, but the way they promote business is kind of like it's like that hidden veil and shit. Your ass go into business, then you realize that you paying almost every level of European society and shit. Literally. You know what I'm saying? You get a different fucking bill in the mail for each damn level of a government and shit.
You see the point I'm making? So you got individuals who, not all, I'm not gonna say all, because as much, there are certain individuals that live by that code that grandma and grandpa had. You don't have to toot your horn, you just do your good work, right? So you got some individuals who are not doing it for recognition. They're just doing their good deeds, right? Oprah tried. if you remember the last 1 or 2 years before she officially went off the air with her show, she would do little things like buy houses. I mean, or give out free cars, little small things like that, right? But it was never. It was mainly done on the individual level, and there was nothing with regards to building, in regards to generations, and you know what I'm trying to say. It was nothing. But see, when we say political, that's a group. See what I'm saying? Politics are groups, right? The best way to disassociate yourself with any political movement is to invest highly in individuals. You might not making sense.
Yep.
Divide and conquer. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
So, for example, LB, what's that shit? The lesbian, gay, transgenders, right? They are a political group because they speak to the right, the lesbians and fact that homosexuals have organized themselves as a group. They have not only organized themselves as a group, but they have defined themselves in a group fashion, like how we do in terms of race, right? By doing so, they're able to get certain rights, right?
I don't know. You got to
Hear
be
me
real.
out. Hear me out. Hear
Okay,
me
okay.
out. As long as them faggots was getting married on an individual basis, they was gonna get rejected. State legislation. We don't agree to gay marriage because they organized themselves on an individual basis, right? But when them niggas started getting the numbers and functioning and labeling themselves as a group, you see the point I'm making?
Well,
This is the loophole. This is the loophole in American politics. Hear me
Yeah,
out. Hear me out.
yeah, they got identified as a minority group. And you know what's crazy,
Right.
man? I'm not gonna digress from where you're
uh
going,
huh.
but I saw something today, and it was like black women almost identify as a minority group separate from black people as a whole in terms of how they function in society. I saw something that was like the state of the black woman. It was through a Roland Martin live stream earlier, but I was like, damn, is that really where we at? You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing, though,
Right.
family. When you
Let
hold
me
on,
let
hold
me
that
let me let
pop.
me clear this up.
Okay, go
Then I'm gonna
ahead, go
pass
ahead.
the mic. Let me clear it up and pass the mic. Right.
Okay, go ahead.
So as long see, we know off the wham, being a homosexual, that's an individual choice. What do you mean? I'm not gonna get into the details, but it's you choosing to disclose what gender that you choose to affiliate with. That's an individual choice, right? And as long it was individual, they were getting scrutinized. See the point I'm making? When they chose to form groups, now they have to be politically recognized because this is how politics work. One man speaking, like I can get up there and say, I like ice cream, I like chocolate chip ice cream, and I want to vote, and I'm gonna go into politics to make sure that everybody has a fair share of ice cream. Well, how many followers do you have, McRaw? Oh, it's just me. This is my preference. Oh, so you have no, it's not gonna work. You see the point I'm making?
Yeah.
But if I had 100,000 motherfuckers who love pecan ice cream who paid and we formed. You see the point I'm making? America is
Well,
a nation that's formed of individual parties that go from individuals and become groups. And that's what we've seen in the past 5 or 6 years with regards to this homosexual movement. They've got wise with regards to saying, yeah, it's individual preference. We know it's an individual choice, but we're not going to get no rights as a collective until we unify. And the faggots have unified. Huh?
I think you
Lesbians
oversimplifying
and
it, brother.
punks and transgenders, right? They've unified. Now how did they beat us? Because those of us who consider ourselves to be black conscious members, we know like you niggas can't use our struggle for y'all movement, right? How did they do it? It was how they organized themselves and redefined themselves as groups. See the point I'm making? So
Disagree,
going back
brother.
to what I was saying earlier with Oprah, she will not support any black political group, but she will, as a tax write-off, give a few individuals something. You see the point I'm making?
I hear you.
So that's how you know Yeah, you got 300 million in the bank, nigga, but you still got rules on how you can spend it. Because we know motherfuckers naturally gonna act a fool when they get money because they can blow that shit any way they choose, right? So why are they all blowing their money in the same fashion? I'm on XM radio and I'm listening. This nigga 21 Savage bought $100,000 bed. Just think about that.
Comfort, right?
Hmm?
Comfort is everything, man.
Recklessness. He can spend his he can't they tell you he can't spend his money in the real way because why bed, nigga? You an entertainer. You I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I know entertainers go on tour. Brother, hey Rue, they go on tour, right? Them niggas is hotel, right? Them niggas is best friend. They in and out of hotels, so they rarely get to sleep. So I understand, you want some comfort, but a bed out of all the dumb shit to spend it on, like, niggas already got $100,000 in jewelry. Niggas got this. I'm gonna kill the game, nigga. I'm gonna buy $100,000 bed. Now, what if he would have sent 50 grand to a particular group or organization? You see the point I'm making?
Mm-hmm.
He chose to put 50 grand towards this little group over here instead of spending. You see what I'm saying? I don't, and if y'all been noticing, this nigga has a good background. His daddy's a doctor. He from Britain. You dumbing down to fit American culture. So going back our initial topic, do anybody remember the Boy Lovers Association? You remember that?
Hold up, Mekara. Let me address what you just was dropping, homie.
Go ahead.
When you was talking about Oprah and groups and then LBGT, how they became a group, I disagree with you from the aspect that this whole homosexual pedophilia bestiality, this sexual debauchery is coming from a much higher level of Caucasians, man, Caucasoids, man, or Caucasoid affiliates. So the only way you can get laws and shit passed, bro, you gotta have bread. You gotta be a super duper lobbyist, man. You just buy shit. You don't need no groups. You just buy shit. Motherfucking George Soros, so they got ads in Craigslist for crisis actors and shit. So if he wanna act like he pushing a certain cause, he can just order up 10,000 motherfuckers, have them bust over there. But meanwhile, he's still cashing motherfuckers out behind the scenes in the positions of Congress and shit. These motherfuckers just buy niggas off, man. They buy you
Right.
off before you even get in office. They fund your whole campaign. When you get in there, you know what to do. We ain't got to talk about it. Holler at me later. I'm on my way to Hawaii.
But
What
see,
they
that's a
doing?
front, brother. That's a front. What do I mean by
What?
that?
Mm-hmm.
Occupations of leisure get the most money in the field. Would you agree?
I
What
break
do
it
white
down. Like
folks do
break
on
it
their
down.
leisure? What do white folks do on what do white folks do on their leisure time? You see the point I'm making?
I'm here. I'm
Slaves
listening.
don't have leisure time. They go have orgies, right? The average white politician probably has about 20 grand a year he pays on prostitutes. I might be exaggerating, I might be off number. I'm just putting it out there. I'm showing you how their leisure time is different from ours. See the point I'm making? So, yeah, there is a higher agenda, but at the same time, there's a large majority of motherfuckers who behind closed doors have sick ass fetishes on leisure shit. You know what I mean? When I say leisure, I'm talking about the black market. When you talk to pimps, he say I'm a gentleman of leisure, right? And what do you mean by that? They partake and benefit from the leisure time that white folks spend on, right? So you may have racist motherfucking crackers who are in politics talking white power, but what does he do on leisure time? He likes to buy black prostitutes. You see the point I'm making?
Tie it all in, cause I ain't. I mean, you saying shit, but I ain't
No,
getting the
yeah.
whole. I ain't getting the whole tie in. Break it all. Like bring it all the way home for me. Cause I'm talking about something different. It sound like.
The group, meaning, You have a group of people with sick fetishes. That's basically,
I mean, the
me and
Caucasian
you, me
always has sick fetishes, so that ain't no
right,
new shit. So Ty,
but
that's what I'm
but
saying. Hey,
but when you work, the money you accumulate, how do you spend that money, brother? Towards family, towards your children, towards growth, right? Europeans kind of have that already taken care of. So they more or less like partying. Huh? You think we turn up, they turn up all the way. And they do what they do basically so that they can continuously maintain them partying. And what they like to do on their off time. We talking about R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. That's how Bill Cosby got caught up in his shit. That's how R. Kelly got caught up in his shit. Because after they got the money, what the fuck were they doing on their leisure time? See the point I'm making? Partaking in European fetishes, European activity, pedophilism.
Gets
Uh,
niggas every time. The
you
leisure.
see what I'm saying? Like Rahir Rule said it earlier, when you get caught up in that Hollywood pizzazz, what's Hollywood pizzazz? What do people in Hollywood do on leisure time when they're not eating at these high end restaurants or drinking Perrier water? What are they doing behind closed doors? You said it earlier. Sex trafficking is the number one in America. And who's the face of sex trafficking? We ain't got the money or resources to bring in dozens of mother. You see the point I'm making? And who's the just take it to a street level? Who's the most potential customer on the sex market? A white
yeah,
male between the
yeah.
ages of 20. You see the point I'm making?
When I say who's the number one John in America?
Who are these slaves brought here to satisfy?
Great point, McGrath.
Mecca you ain't made the point with this LBGT and an individual and organization. Like I'm still, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't touching on it, that's cool. But you ain't made. I ain't heard the point, bro. I'm
Now,
telling you,
the
the power is already
LGBT,
distributed. That's power moving. That's not no group of no fags moving. That's power moving. That's a
it
power
is
split.
power.
That's a
And what's
power
the
split.
power?
The power is motherfuckers who got the money on the higher levels put that type of organization together to push their own agenda. This one individual had enough resources, or a few individuals had enough resources to go and buy a group of other individuals to push their motherfucking agenda. So it ain't got nothing to do with no one motherfucker, this, that, this. If you Oprah and all them, they could never get all their money together to do shit. They've been indoctrinated from the day they came into the system. So they ain't gonna never be able to do shit except what they master tell them to do. It's a wrap for them niggas. It's gonna be token shit. You're gonna see them do little token shit. Oh, they funded a school. They did this. Why they ain't got an African? Why they ain't buy Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark a new building to teach out of? Why they ain't get Dr.
They
Amos
can't.
Wilson put up? That's what I'm
See,
saying.
that's my whole point. That's my whole point. Like going back to our initial, conversation, economics, right? We need to focus on economics, right? We do, we do. But we also need to know that there's a big control aspect in economics, which differentiates between the civil rights movement and now, the Marcus Garvey movement then and now. Meaning, back then they were on a cash account, so you had a cash. The problem with cash is that it's unregulated, right? What are they trying to do? Limit the money that they make per year, make more money accessible electronically for the purpose of controlling and monitoring how people spend their money, right? So, for example, if you can spend your money, if you could, pay your rent with a debit card, if you could pay your car note with a debit card, you can buy your food with a debit card. What do you need cash for? For extracurricular activities. The weed man don't take a debit. The dope man don't take debit. See the point I'm making? uh, the nigga who you know, the pimp that you get your kids from when you engage in your pedophilia. They don't take because cash is unaccounted for. You see the point I'm making? So when it comes to us pushing that line, we can't look to the cash crop who are they're not entrepreneurs. They're not first, second generation business person. They're new money. They're individuals under contract in entertainment, football players, etc. And they can buy reckless shit like jewelry that it costs 100 grand, but they can't put $25,000 to this RBG movement. You see the point I'm making? Now I'm gonna tie that into the lesbian and so forth. By them organizing themselves, what's their main function? If you notice, attacking us, huh? That's why I respect Irritated Genie because he's been seeing how they've been using so-called, you know, he been calling a large number of middle class motherfuckers who claim they're RBG. That's homosexual. The average homosexual don't have kids. They hold high end jobs. So this answers your question with the money aspect. They're able to pull in a lot of money because they're not spending their money the way me and you do. Me and you spend our money on our children. A lot of brothers paying child support. We talking about the lifestyles that most straight men live. You see the point I'm making? There's
I
little
hear you,
time for
bro.
partying.
You ain't adding up what I'm talking about, Mecca. You talking, but
Okay,
you're not answering what I'm talking about, bro. Now I just done told you the niggas who control the power, they create the economic system, man. So the economics is just a fucking trickle down. It don't have nothing to do with the real power flow. It's obsolete except for the motherfucker who put the system in place. It works for the people who put the shit in place, from debit to credit to whatever. And so you looking at the micro, man. You looking at the micro, man.
okay. Let me ask you this question: what do you think Bill Gates likes to do on his leisure time?
Bill Gates ain't even motherfucking relevant, man. He's a pawn. We're talking about motherfucking old money. Bill Gates ain't old enough to
What
really.
what 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 do
He's
the
a
Rothschilds
product.
do on their
Bill
leisure
Gates is
time?
a product of old white power. This is old
What do
white
the
power.
Rothschilds do on their leisure time? Because money don't exist to them, right?
They take over countries, my nigga.
I said leisure time.
They take over countries, my nigga.
After the countries are taken over, what do they do to those
Nigga,
countries?
that's what they do on their leisure time. They conquer nations, man. They find weak nations and they conquer their shit. And then whatever they get when conquering that nation, they go in there and rape the children and the women. They dominate them now in a more sophisticated manner, but it's the same motherfucking it's the same agenda, man.
Now you
So ain't
just
nothing
answered your question
changed.
right there. What do they
What?
do? What do they do? What do they do to the women and children?
Bro, the same shit they was doing in the caves before they came out. It's their culture. That's what they do. What I'm talking about is the power differential. With the power differential, they can push that shit on a mass scale, man. So then any black person or
That's a
Hispanic person or
that's a
anybody else,
given. That's a given. But what I'm saying is, why can't we organize when people
because we don't have
when
the
people talk about
power yet.
let me finish. Let me finish, brother. When people say why we can't organize and build on economics, that's the point I was answering. This is why we can't organize on economics because those who do have money who are black, they can't spend the money because it's not really theirs, and because they already have positions that they signed up for that are against our interests. That's all I was saying, brother.
But brother, the reason you can't have black economics, bro, because you don't got no black independent institutions, man, to fucking create no black economics. That's my point I'm making, brother. The white man's institutions are systematically plotted out, man. Every institution works to maintain the white control, from the banks to the schools to the hospitals. So ain't nowhere for you to get in unless you break the system down.
Exactly. Now let's look at Marcus Garvey, right? How and why was his movement so successful? One, what was the political standard? Segregation, right? So niggas had no choice but to spend their money with other niggas, right? Right? Check.
Well,
Check.
I think it was multiple. It was a
During,
multi. It was multiple elements going on. So I would have to,
but
you know what I'm
but
saying.
during
Segregation
segregation,
was one of them. Segregation was one element. I agree with you on that.
we missed that point. Marcus Garvey spread that message in the political time of segregation, and it was really aimed at saying how we can take over because of the political situations we've been already put in. Meaning, this man had the vision to say, because Europeans have created this situation of segregation that we have to spend with each other, this is our best time to grow, right? Now, it's going to be difficult for us in 2019 to take the philosophy and build it in terms of economics because it's not there with regards to the political. We live in integrative times. We live in 2019. These are integrative times. Would you agree with that, brother?
I got a different spill on it, bro. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you do your wisdom. Yeah, you right. I mean, it's
Go
integrative
ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
times.
go ahead.
It's integrative times in a sense, man. Black people have not had an opportunity. Every time we started to build our own infrastructure, bro, the system blew this shit up, man. They already know the importance of having your institutions. That's when you can become independent. So what they've done is systematically kept us from ever being able to get institutions put up, man. They like whatever you get, motherfucker, you gonna get it from me. So I can control and keep the power over you. When you start to go outside that paradigm, man, that's when they break shit down. You know what I'm saying? So that's the focus. Got to get some small institutions where you can start to build and teach the babies, give them a spot to grow and develop, man,
I
as
say
best you
now.
can.
Let me ask you this question: what crime did they charge Marcus Garvey with in the end?
I don't remember. I just remember they tried to hit him with some tax evasion, but I don't remember what else was on what
Tax
they.
evasion. What is that? What does that fall under? Economics, right? You see the point I'm making?
Well, I mean, yeah, I hear you. But I think they just tried. They just want. They couldn't get shit on him. That was the closest area that they because
That's
they all they
all they
wanted.
can get him with.
Yeah, but I mean, they was gonna get him anyway. But that gave him a so-called legal premise to do it.
Why?
I mean, I think they was gonna get him anyway. So they just like, look, you know what I'm saying? They knew he had such a following. If they killed him, they probably would have had a serious uprising because he had too many motherfuckers, too many people in his organization. So they probably they did a non-violent slay. You know what I'm saying? They slayed him non-violently, just locked him up, then shipped him out. Like, okay, cut the head off the snake and the snake dies.
No, let's look at it. Let's look at it, right? Let's look at it, right? Okay, he had organized people. Okay, he had a large number of people. One, and second, he had a large number of people willing to invest.
So what was his crime? What was his real crime in
Tax
your mind?
evasion.
No, no, no.
Tax.
What was his
That's
real
the only thing they can
crime?
charge him with.
I
They
know. So
charged him with.
what was his real crime though? I'm asking you. What do you think the real crime? Why they was even fucking with him for?
He had a
He
large.
he
He
didn't
had a
break
large.
he didn't break
He
no
had a
laws.
large amount of uncounted money coming into an organization that was against America.
Hear me, Mecca. He ain't break no
Are you
law.
hearing me though, brother Griff?
Just listen real quick.
We talking economics, right? We talking economics, right?
I'm not
But
talking economics.
when
I'm
we
not
look at
talking economics. I'm not talking economics. I'm talking
okay,
power.
okay, okay.
Now, what do you think? What was Garvey's crime? What Garvey do? He didn't do no tax evasion. So what was they really throwing that shit out there? What did he really do wrong? What was the problem? What did Garvey do to make them have to feel like they needed to get rid of that man?
Go ahead.
I'm asking you, brother. Bro,
Organizing,
organizing
organizing,
what? Organizing what?
an organization and movement determined with helping his people who had the economic power to make it so. So they
Not not just
convicted
the
him.
go ahead. Uh,
They convicted him of tax evasion. He was They attacked the fact that he had the ability to generate large incomes of money unaccounted for. And in 2019, we're talking about economics when we never looked at the fact that our leader was able to generate economics, but what was he charged with?
What was Garvey's main mission, man? For especially for black people here in the United States.
He was sent here to unify the African diaspora abroad. What
And
was his method? He
what
had
was
many methods,
okay,
but
what
the
was his
method he used
main
in
mission?
America
What was his main mission for the American Africans, bro?
to improve our condition as a
How?
whole.
How?
Say again, brother.
I said how? Like what was his main goal for American Africans? What was his main goal?
To improve the conditions of the African diaspora and make us a world power.
Now, I'm agree with you on that part. It was a power shift. So that's why he got out of here. It had nothing to do with taxes. He was shifting that power. But he was telling black people you need to go the fuck back to Africa. Get the
What
fuck
was
out of
his
here. They don't want you
tool?
here.
But what was the tool he was using to facilitate that power?
He was using the tool of the African identity.
True, but
That's the only tool. You build around your fucking
no, it
culture.
wasn't the only tool. It was
That's
the
the
only tool.
only tool, bro.
They were willing to invest in that African identity. The
Bro,
Black
that's
Star, the
he
Black
lives.
Star, the newspaper, right? He was able to say, okay, competing as a world power in the world right now, a nation has to have what? Resources, right? Right?
I'm listening. Not no, you don't. Not a
Why
whole
not?
lot. Europe didn't prove that. You got to be hungry. You got to be
Europe.
hungry and you got to be wise.
What was Europe's number one resource then, and what is it now? Military. That's the form of resource. Would you agree?
I mean, anything could be called a resource, bro, Mekarat. Just a pair of shoes is a motherfucking resource, my nigga. So you got to be specific, bro.
But I am being specific. A military can be used to
Everything is
facilitate power,
nigga. Yeah, a sweatband is a resource,
right?
my dude.
But in the context of what we talk about nation building, a
Okay,
military
now
is
there
the
you go.
best
Now you being
form. Hold
specific.
on. A military is best form to substantiate, maintain power, right?
What aspect of military are you talking about?
The European. You said the European didn't have any resource. I said yes, he did. He had the resource of military.
Well, when I was talking about resource, that wasn't the area I was thinking about. What I'm saying is they had a fierce determination to dominate the globe, and that fire that they had, that's what got them still doing the same wicked shit that they started doing when they left fucking Europe.
Peace, Born.
I agree. Go ahead.
Real quick, brother Born, your mic on? I just heard you.
Yeah, nah, I'm just now getting back. Excuse me, fam. I'm jumping in between y'all conversation, but this is a good conversation on resources and how and what need to be had in order to formulate a nation. But I'm glad I'm in here. I'm in here for good right now, family. I finally got my thing correct, so I'm in here. I ain't gonna jump back out.
Okay. Now, what I'm saying, Brother Bourne, is I'm answering the question. In 2019, whenever we talk about Black liberation, you're going to have a small group of us, maybe a large group, speak on economics. I'm saying, well, why hasn't economics been able to work for us? Because when it comes to certain avenues, we do have a large contingency of actors, athletes, and so forth. But going off what Dick Gregory said, you can't expect them to be a part of our movement. And the main reason he said why was because they don't have full control over their money. They can partake in frivolous activities, and I gave y'all an example, 21 Savage, bragging about buying $100,000 bed. But if he was to send $25,000 to some type of RBG movement, he would get scrutinized. So I'm saying we need to redefine what it means in terms of economics. Because what's the difference between Marcus Garvey's economic movement, and he had a lot of other movements, and now? When Marcus Garvey was coming up, cash was regulated. It was a large amount of cash being unregulated. It's not like now where you have debit cards. Uh, every year there's less and less cash being printed because they're saying, what do you need money for? You can pay your rent. You can pay uh, gas, phone, all that with your debit card. So what do you need cash for? And I'm saying to partake in frivolous activities, right? The weed man don't take debit, right? The coke man, the prostitute man, all of that. So there's a lot of unrelated cash that's flowing, going towards occupations of leisure. And leisure is a big, you know, occupation from drugs, sex, all that. What is the European struck on? All three. Going back, I said that what was the crime they charged Marcus Garvey with? Tax evasion. Now let's look at that. Back then, why tax evasion? They couldn't charge him with anything else. They charged him with tax evasion because he had the ability to have large amounts of money come in unregulated to a particular organization. He no longer needed to work. As long as he had you see the point I'm making? So they went now into looking and tarnishing his reputation. He was stealing money. He was saying he was going to build the Black Star, but he didn't. What was his message? Take advantage of the political nature now. What was the political nature then? Segregation. Being that we have only each other to rely on because of segregation, we should spend our money with each other. We should organize our money. When you listen to Dr. Clark talk, for example, and he will say that back then they had an African Union that sent reps from Harlem to go to African nations and represent us. Damn, how were they able to do that? Segregation, nigga. They were segregated from American society. They were second-class citizens in the fact. So when you went to another town, right? When you went to another town or a city, I can go to Connecticut and stay at Brother Bourne's house because white motels wouldn't accept me. Right, Brother Bourne?
Yeah, no, that's how. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because it was a black connection, and when I go to, whenever I go to this city, I know where I'm gonna stay because they got the black hospital there. They go to black hotel. We know where we going. We straight. We got our own. We got our own situation going. You're right about that. Segregation definitely was a key proponent in us having an economic upturn because we had to deal with ourselves. We couldn't do nothing but pull ourselves up. Couldn't help it.
Now, thank you, Brother Bourne. Now, when you look at now, look at grandma and grandpa. We all got, grandma and grandpas, but don't they have a certain energy about themselves? There's no insecurity about their blackness. You ever notice that? The issues that the youngsters have now with identifying with being black, grandma and grandpa didn't have. They were proud of being black. You ever notice that? Because they were raised during segregation. And their parents was raised during segregation. So they prepared them for a system of segregation. We didn't have no preparation for integration. I'm born in 82. That's 20 years after the Civil Rights Movement. They said take 2 generations to really see progress. So in 1982, there were no elders that can give me advice on how to deal and prepare myself for integrating in America. You see the point I'm making?
You're right about that.
Our elders thought that they got us to the promised land because they transferred the political power and the political energy from segregation to integration. My baby don't have to worry about the problems that I went through. But when you really look at it, the problems you went through may have been racial, but the issues of identity were not there. The issues of spending, you know what I mean? You had, it was common sense. I'm black. I have to go to a black theater. See the point I'm making?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, like you said, it was common sense. That's what the culture was. It wasn't even common sense. There was no thought that I'm going to go to a white theater. There was no thought that I'm going to spend my money over there because you could not spend your money over there, even if you thought it. You didn't think no
Even
shit like that.
if you thought it, you know you couldn't.
Yeah, even if you thought it, you knew you couldn't. I can't get that unless know what I'm saying. Unless my people bring that shit down here to this though. But if it ain't here, then they ain't getting got.
Now, I'm gonna say this: when I was a Muslim, there was a saying that Elijah Muhammad said that when the black man in the South wakes up, that's when this nation will experience change. I didn't recognize
Hold
what
up,
he
Nicaragua, you
said
broke up. You broke up. You said when the black man. You said Elijah Muhammad said when the black man and then it broke up.
in the South wakes up.
All right.
That's when we're going to experience change. And I didn't understand what that meant until I moved to the South. And then now looking at the state of hip hop, right? Majority of Southern rappers don't need a deal. Why? Because even though segregation is left, the culture is still there. So, for example, they can make 100,000 by going to certain clubs. You see the point I'm making? I'll
Oh
give you.
yeah, they learn how to keep
I'll
they
give you
learn
an
how to work
example.
together.
I'll give you an example.
Definitely, I lived in the South. I understand where you're coming from.
Name a hot artist you like in the South. I'll give you an example.
You know what I'm saying? We seen that all the way from No Limit, from the beginning of it, from the
Right.
beginning of the South. That's what DJ Magic Mike, all of them. The reason why they got paid and blew up is because the people around their community, they held them down first. You know what I'm saying? They community driven. The only reason that
Mm-hmm.
they large is because they was community driven. They was already based inside their own neighborhood because the neighborhood, like you said, southern neighborhoods do have a more inclusive type of feel and culture about them. They're culturally different. I don't I haven't lived in California since I was about 3 years old. So I don't really know the culture in California, but I know this East Coast culture, and I know that we're not as close knit on the northern East Coast as they are on the southern East Coast.
See, that's the that's the similarities that California and New York have. We don't have that many numbers. So, for example, I'm just gonna throw some off the top of my head. Uh, uh, a youngster like, or not even a youngster, somebody like Gucci Mane, right? Gucci Mane can do shows all through the South and get paid 20,000 a night going to small nightclubs.
Yeah.
And when you go
Or
to those nightclubs, it's gonna be brothers, it's gonna be niggas up in there. See the point I'm making?
yeah, it's
Charging
gonna be
$50 a night. We got Gucci Mane coming. You see the point I'm making?
yeah, it's gonna be click. Yeah, yo, you know what? You're right. They pop it like that down there. They pop it like that. You'll have 30 to $50 tickets, and they'll fill the club up, give Gucci 15 to $25,000, and just bring them through there, and everybody eating all year, all year. They run circus down south all year. They don't even leave the southeast. They don't even leave.
Don't
They don't
need
go past
to. I don't
Virginia.
need to go to California. By the time I do go, I'm already balling.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They only have to leave past Virginia. They go from Virginia to Florida, Virginia the highest, down to Florida, and maybe as over as far as Arkansas, Alabama, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't even got to go past that. Fuck going past the Mississippi. We ain't got to go past New Orleans with none of our music. And we're gonna eat right here.
How are they able to do that? Because those areas are predominantly black.
Yeah,
So what do Elijah Muhammad mean?
and they identify different. Them areas they
Mm-hmm.
identify way different. They look at each other more like they alike than
Mm-hmm.
they not alike. You know what I'm saying? They more, yeah, word like real shit. And that's what it is. They more look like themselves like they alike than not alike. Because up here in
Right.
Connecticut, we look at ourselves, we look at the differences between niggas. I'm not like them New York niggas. I'm not like a New Jersey nigga. I'm not like that. We look at the difference between each other. But down south, them cats more they got the tendency more to see what they got alike before they go with what they don't got alike.
Right. You take a little youngster, what's his name? Rollo from Atlanta. Balling.
I'm gonna say this, fam. NBA young boy, perfect example.
NBA
Young man
young
out
boy.
of the South that came up and blew up and now is a multimillionaire. And then everybody's critiquing this young man because what? You fail to realize he became a multimillionaire at 16 years old. He ain't had no guidance and nobody sitting there telling him how to manage and control his money. Same thing with Marcus Garvey. Garvey didn't have nobody sitting there telling him, getting in his ear, helping him, telling him how to manage his money. The
Mm-hmm.
thing is that we failing to look at it. We can get as rich as we want in any avenue and get yourself any title or identity in form of moving forward in any movement. You still got to deal with the white man. That's a very small percentage, which is just three letters on a paper. That's an office. That's smaller than the mass majority of black people called the IRS, racketeering and extortion. Easiest way to bring anybody down in the world. Because if they can't get you on the crimes that either you committed or didn't commit, they got a paper route to go ahead and build a file and get you in the courthouse and say, okay, look, man, we want ours. Oh, you ain't got it? Oh, okay. Well, we just gonna come take ours. And we fear that system. We fear that small group. It's the same shit where like I'm quite sure the Africans in Roots that this was a real life story. When they was running and the brothers running, he's saying, look around, brother. It's more of us than it is of them. Fight back, right? Same shit with the IRS and the government. Yo, you got all these alphabet branches and names, but they smaller than us. But people scared of the name. You got that inferiority complex. Remember, emotions is something that you put into yourself. It's not something that you learned. It's not something that grew through you in time. It's not something you evolved to understand. It's self infliction. When we get past self infliction and we build ourselves a system of economics, wealth, and on several branches, it's not just one thing we got to focus on, yo. We got a whole goddamn tree to sit here and build with, from agriculture to economics to power to war to education to food, how we eat, to where we live, the land, to how we gonna move, the transportation, yo. It's so much shit that we need, yo. And tonight, I'm glad we back on the air, but when we having discussions, yo, leave personal shit out of that shit, yo. We ain't gotta sit here and go back and forth on each other on who right and wrong. We want to put out the information so the people can understand. Look, Garvey failed here. Okay, if Garvey failed here, there's nobody to come to us as people from the elders and say, this is where we failed. This is where you guys have to pick up from and not fail. Complete the mistakes in the area that we made because we didn't have them people there to stand by us and give us that information. We not thinking like that, yo. And somehow, in some way, we gonna get lost in each other's mixed in confusion. It's not about who's right and wrong, who's smarter than who, and who dropping more solid facts and who don't know shit, yo. We need a fucking structure that needs to be moving right now, moving forward for us, by us, that is completely separate and different from these crackers. We don't need to
I feel
emulate. We don't need to go ahead and carbon copy something that has not worked for us in any way through any large amount of time. And we get lost in that shit. I see a lot of people now from 10 years ago to me, yo, they turned into black Jews. What happened to all that black power shit? Yo, it looked good, you know what I'm saying? But now, where you at? What happened to that person? I don't see it, yo. And I'm not critiquing nobody here in this room. I'm talking about in general, yo. A lot of people that I met in this black power shit was based on business. As long as I was buying trinkets and shit from you, I heard from you every day. I stopped buying shit from you. I ain't heard from motherfuckers in I don't know how long. So where's the unity? Where's the power at? Is the unity and the power? And as long as I'm putting money in your pocket, we cool and we can talk black politics and black unity and hang out and do this and do that and make it look good. Nah, yo, I ain't trying to polish an image, nigga. I live this shit. This is who I am. I'm not trying to be anything else or be anybody else. I want my people to move forward. I'm tired of motherfuckers half-assing it, faking a facade, changing your voice, on some Superman steroid like you super black power dude. Yo, ain't nobody flying around in red, black, and green in the sky with a cape on saving nobody. Calm the fuck down, yo. It's either we gonna get this shit right or we not, yo.
Peace and power. I say, yo, I'm gonna say this right. Since we doing the news, this is our first time back. We've been chopping it up a little bit, but I want to put something out there because I want our family to go check this out. I want our family to check this out right here. Um, get online and look up 3%er. 3%er. Go look this stuff up. Go look out their codes and all that shit. Because I want us to be aware that when we say, when we speak of that war is coming or that we at war or looking at this um, in a military fashion, it's not out of recklessness and it's not out of naivety, and we're not ignorant to be looking at all situations that we're dealing with as war. That's why I want y'all to look at that 3% site. Y'all check that out with any information y'all can find on that, because it's definitely going to sharpen you up to what type of situation we're dealing with here today, right now.
Ashe.
Oh shit.
And I,
Well, we're gonna be back. You know what I'm saying? We blasted off for like 2 hours real quick for y'all. You know what I'm saying? We blasted off real quick. We just wanted to come back and just chop it up a little bit. We gonna be coming back every couple days. We'll make sure at least once a week that we here just to drop a jewel or two. Drop a little bit of news, see what's going on. I plan on being back quick and early because we want to just drop some real quick clips and stuff like that. So what y'all will be getting, y'all probably be getting some clips from us, some clips out the archives and things of that nature, just to put y'all back, just to get y'all feet back on the ground, because we see that they have left the goddamn ground. They not sound on the ground. Niggas think the earth is motherfucking flat. You're going crazy. You're going bananas. They think the world flat. Umar done got a school on a motherfucking swamp site. Niggas is going crazy. Niggas done said that Amos Wilson was gay. We're going to have to get into all of that shit because, trust me, there's a lot of foolishness going on out here. A lot of foolishness that we're going to have to make sure that we shine a light on and to keep our people up out of. Because our people getting trapped in a lot of things because there's nobody there. You need more than one voice being a trumpet to tell people, yo, look out. Watch out, man. Watch out. You know what I'm saying? Don't go that way. At the least, that's the thing that we should be able to do. You know what I'm saying? You say, listen, man, don't go that way. Try this way, but definitely never go that way. Because it's a lot of strange teachings. Because as Brother Hebrew was saying, the Black conscious movement has seemed to subside a little bit. I would say the red, black, and green part have seemed to subside, but from what I've seen is a lot of people, just like Brother Hebrew and just like myself, have seen that a lot of things had turned commercial. So there was a lot of people who were utilizing the love of red, black, and green to make an economic mark for themselves. And I don't mind that, because I don't mind spinning back and forth with my brothers and sisters, but I don't want to be caught up in just a theme of looking like what it's supposed to be. So I had to fall back so I can continue being what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? I mean continuously working on programs that better myself, so then I can better those around me. Because one of the things that I think that a lot of us tend to lose focus on self. So what happened was we put so much energy into let's get together that a lot of us lost energy for self. So we fell short in certain areas. So now we just coming back around and making sure that, look, you know what, we cleaned it up. See, I pretty much figured this was going to start happening. See, we knew that it was going to be some fallaways to the wayside. We was going to have some fallaways. Some people were just going to be faking and fronting for the time being. You know what I mean? They wasn't going to be stomped down. They wasn't going to be no stomped down on it, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like that. So now the stomp downs is still around, and we got to start, cleaning up spaces, because the energy is still moving. The youth are still moving. This is why right now I'm telling you, we're going to really have to clean our people up in their minds, because a lot of our people have now fallen full-heartedly from they went full-hearted liberal. I'm talking about, man, they've gone full hard motherfucking retard. on us because the black movement was so strong and got stigmatized so hard that with the black extremist identity groups and just steadily pushing Colin Kaepernick, all that shit made black power look made black people look weary. They whoa, we don't want no problems. We don't want to be back with them problems and shit. And they ran full force away from anything that could deal with nationalism, anything that deals with unifying with black people, to anything that unifies with everybody and everything and anything. You know what I mean? The only thing that the black people don't want to unify with right now is the white man. They take the white woman, they take the transgenders, they take the goddamn whatever it is, they're unified with, except for white men and strong black men pumping strong black power. I'm talking about, and when I say black power, I mean empowering your black family, man, empowering your black community, man, to do better by each other. You know what I mean? And they running away from the strong black woman too. I don't want to say that there's no strong black women out there really holding it down for the black universal family, wanting us to be correct as a black community for our own selves. Now, have that black common unity. You know what I mean? So, that's happening too. But a lot of our people have ran. I'm talking about, man, they have ran in masses to full retard, man. To full retard mode. Anything goes. They want your guns. They want abortion at any type of motherfucking rate. You can't tell them no. Yo, listen, man. They talking about they want. Our people is now pushing for full rate abortion after birth. I'm talking about, man. They talking about after post birth abortion, and our people is getting on board for this type of shit. So we gonna have to, come and make sure that on a weekly basis, man, we break down this bullshit that gets put out on a regular, you know what I'm saying, to our people, pushing our people in a direction that will definitely be detrimental to them, having them think, thoughts that are going to be detrimental to them, having them pushing agendas that will be detrimental to them, and we're going, that's what we do. That's what we're going to be geared up to do. You're going to catch me, Brother Menkara, Brother Ra, you know what I'm saying, Brother Griff, Brother Cause. You're going to catch us all in here at some point in time, making sure that you get that real information from the feet on the ground refugees. But I don't know. I'm rambling right now, man. This our first night in a while.
I say, and brother right here, I love you, fam. Real talk, man. It's our job to critique the mistakes our elders made, and only we can do it. Like you said, nobody else is gonna sit here and give us the platform and say, this is where we made mistakes from. That's something we have to do as a people. That's something we have to do in terms of holding ourselves accountable. Mm-hmm. And long as it's in-house, long as it's among family, there should be no quarrel or no opposition that should go against that, family. And I love you for bringing that information, family. I love you for staying who you are and giving us that vision, because oftentimes, this movement is always open for change. And there's a big vacancy, there's a big space empty for leadership regarding anybody who wants to fill that position. And for some reason, that position has to be filled by somebody who has a religious background, has a certain type of facade about themselves. And as I stated earlier, that's changed. It has changed with regards to the current times we're living in, for example. You see what I'm saying? So we need to constantly have these conversations. Critiquing the mistakes our elders made is something only we can do. But coming to positive, results should be the main core, and something that's, geared at progressive movement for our youth. So that, feet on the ground is definitely going to be the catalyst to making sure that type of information gets put out there. And you should never feel wrong or guilty for, critiquing the past if you have a full knowledge of it. And if you don't, that's fine. because there's a lot of individuals who have that information, but there has to be some revision constantly being made. And with regards to how economics is, we have to be realistic in saying that, hey, we need to apply some pressure on our athletes and entrepreneurs. You know, y'all can't have it both ways. It's funny because feet on the ground, we've been pushing this movement for a long time. And I remember the little Gucci. Anybody remember the little Gucci little incident with the little hoodie with
Yeah,
Gucci showing their, and I like that because you've seen individuals burning Gucci material, and then what did they do right after that? They gave you Mayweather going to a Gucci store. I'm living life, man. And see, we have to recognize that that's his role. That is his role. He may be rich, but he can't spend his money and may not even know how to organize his money in a fashion to benefit his people outside of the entertainment field. And that's a whole other topic we can get into. How a lot of our people in the entertainment don't even know that we can organize our money outside of the entertainment field. And
yeah,
how, in my opinion, once an entertainer, you know, you can
oh,
easily be caught up on staying an entertainer. And
yeah,
what is the role of an entertainer? Keeping your people in the dark, keeping your people talking about the latest quarterback, the latest trade, the latest fight, the latest basketball game, but not talking about real situations that's going on. I thank y'all, man. Love y'all, man. And we're gonna keep this conversation rolling. Black Power.
my problem. Yeah, I want to say this last thing too, real quick. When you talk about economics, one of the things that I really see is that we have to hold what you said, the black business, black business owners. You know what I mean? Black professionals. We have to hold them more accountable for if we're talking about economics, their economic prowess. You know what I mean? And there are some, and matter of fact, next time we get on, or I'll find a way, we might have to open up a feet on the ground Facebook group and Twitter pages saying where we can put some of them, because some black entrepreneurs and some black business minded people have put out certain things in order for us to be able to get some economics. As a matter of fact, um, to the fam, I'm gonna put something in the back room where y'all can get $3,000 worth of motherfucking money, man, with no credit. You don't need no credit, but $3,000 worth of money in order to be able to put it to some type of business that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put that in the back. And but and just like I said, man, we're gonna have to do what we got to do as F.O.G. refugees. Brother Cause, you gonna close us out? You at my G? Brother Cause going. I know he in there. Be in the
Shit,
library, man.
I'm up in the bow, boy, and I'm ready for the next conversation, the topic, man, because we really just scratched the surface. You know,
Uh, man, yo, you see, all right, listen, man. We're gonna have to, yo, did you see the fucking I want to start a whole new one. So this don't be too long because I want to put out some different information about some different stuff. And I don't want it to be too long. Hold up, man. I know what to do. I know what to do. Of course, eating or something. I know what to do. I don't know what to do right now. Let me see. Let me see.
Peace.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, there you go. You got two of them in there. Yo, brother Cole, go ahead and end this out on this drink. And then we just start up a new one or something and talk about some other things. I mean, we put some news up, some news for
All right.
real,
All right,
and
no doubt.
some of the wild shit, man. You just gotta be in here. Got some shit going.
All right, so yeah, I want to thank the fam for just coming on and connecting. Stay tuned. We're gonna have our shows coming back, as everyone already stated. It's been great. I'm looking forward to sharing some perspectives and bringing some topics and hearing from the brothers and also the people as well. Um, I know Sister Camille, we're gonna catch her on here soon, so stay tuned for that as well, family. That's all I got to say tonight.
Black power to that. You know, when we talking this black power, man, you know, it should never get personal. Um, we all have a role in this movement. I think before you can really play your role in the movement, you should take the time out and finding out what it is that you can bring to this movement. And once you do, sharpen it, put it to good use, so that we all have roles. No, none of us have the same role. None of us have the same responsibilities, but we all have the same agenda. And as long as we have the same agenda, I don't mind going back and forth with any brother, any sister,